Hi folks.
Hi folks.
Today is Tammy's birthday and we had big plans today for places to go and things to do, but we got up this morning, we were both feeling a little lazy, and then to top it off, our primary vehicle wouldn't start. Now we could have gone ahead and got in our secondary vehicle and done the things that we wanted to do, but combined with the lethargy that we were feeling, we decided to take it as a sign that we should stick around the house and just have fun and have a relaxing weekend instead. What I decided to do to try to make it up to her is I am going to cook dinner and dessert for Tammy. So I asked Tammy, what would you like for me to prepare for you for your birthday dinner? And she said that she would like to have some grilled out burgers. Such is a testament to my love for Tammy that I'm out here about to start the grill and it is 35 degrees. So we have our coals fired up, and while we're waiting on those, let's go in and get our burgers ready. It's not that bad out here in the fire. Tammy picked up some fresh ground sirloin from Publix. We're going to pat it out. She actually bought some hamburger seasoning. We're going to give it a try as we prepare these burgers for the fire. So I just washed my hands. We need to get 8 patties out of this hamburger meat, at least. We're going to save the rest of it. I don't want to make them too big. And Tammy bought from, looks like from Weber, the same folks that made the grill that we're about to cook on, this gourmet burger seasoning. Onion, salt, spices, garlic, sugar, chili pepper, tomato powder. So it looks like there's a lot of the kind of flavors that you would associate with a hamburger in here. Put a little of it in there, work it into the meat now so that it's just not on the top. I didn't put much in there. I'm going to vary them, how much we put in. Slightly better. Put the excess off, rub it in, knead it all up. Just lightly season this one with the seasoning that's already fell out. Waste not, want not. And there we have it, 8 seasoned patties. The leftover meat we'll just freeze and use it another time. So of course I'm grateful that Tammy picked a relatively simple meal, though tasty to make. So while we're still waiting on the coals to be prepared, we're going to go ahead and put our French fries on here and get ready to put them in the oven. We already have some non-stick cooking spray down. Let me arrange our fries, give them a little space. So before I put them in the oven, I'm going to spray the tops of them with a little EVOO spray. This will help them to crisp up a little bit. So the coals outside are just about ready for the burgers. It'll take about the same amount of time to cook those burgers as it will to get these fries prepared. The oven's preheated to 450 degrees. I'm going to go ahead and pop them in and then head back outside to start on the burgers. So a long time ago, when our daughter was very young, and we were youngish too, and I was still in school completing my education, I took a part-time job working the grill in a very prestigious restaurant in our city. I really enjoyed that job. It was a lot of fun, and even after a while I had been there, got to know some of the customers. I would come out from back and talk to them, and I was offered a manager job, the nighttime manager job, which supposedly would have led to they were expanding their business in the town, and the promise was that someday I would be the manager of the entire restaurant. And I had no reason to doubt them because we were all friends. But I had a decision to make then. I had been getting this education in technology for a while, and it was at a crossroads as to whether or not it would pay off in the future. At that time I was working in tech, but not making a lot. I was working on contracts that we had to bid really low to get them. So we didn't know how it was going to turn out, so I had to make a decision as to whether or not I wanted to keep going down the path that I was getting the education for, or whether or not I wanted to do something that I was passionate about, which was the restaurant business at the time. I really loved cooking. I loved the whole business, and I had become familiar with it over the time that I had been working part-time in that particular restaurant. But I went ahead and decided to stick with the technology field, and I guess probably financially, these years later, it was probably the best decision. But there are many times such as this when I look back and I think about those days. I think about the fun and the excitement. There is a lot of excitement working in a restaurant, especially during those busy hours. I'll think about that and sometimes feel a little twinge of regret. So the burgers are all on. We'll put the top in there to let some of the smoke. So our burgers appear to be coming along nicely. Oh yeah. So our burgers are off the grill, done to a nice medium, the way we all like them. Gonna take them inside, let them rest for a little while we check on those fries. So we timed that just about perfectly. The fries should be done, yeah. Okay, the way I like to season my fries, let me get one more ingredient out. Yeah, here we go. I like to take a combination of onion powder, put some of that in my hand, a little garlic salt, and a little garlic powder, just a touch. Gonna mix that up in my hand, and I'm going to sprinkle it over the tops of our French fries. So we have our burger and fry prep station ready to go. At this point, everyone builds their burger to their own specifications. So Tammy is about to try the first bite of her birthday burger, or one of them. There's more than one if Tammy's still hungry after this. Good?
Very good. Very good.
Tell me how you think if the fries are seasoned good. Good seasoning?
Very good.
Are you happy with your birthday dinner? Well, we're going to get that dessert loaded up, so don't get too full.
I won't.
So now it's time to make dessert. I asked Tammy what she wanted. I would have made her a cake if she wanted me to, and I was going to decorate it. But instead, she opted for a recipe our daughter tried this past Christmas for cream cheese brownies. They were a hit. We gobbled them all up. I have my ingredients assembled. We're going to make some cream cheese brownies. So the first thing we need to do in preparation is take an 8 or 9 inch pan. Then we're going to line it with some parchment paper. After we get our parchment paper in, we're going to hit it just a little bit with some non-stick cooking spray. Spread it out all around here. We don't want to use too much of it so that the flavor of it gets into our brownies just enough to keep it from sticking. And now our pan's ready. We're going to prepare our brownie mix by taking an entire stick of unsalted butter, and we're going to cut it into cubes. So we've cubed up our stick of butter. They're not perfect cubes, but we're only really doing this so they'll melt evenly. Next step is we're going to add our chocolate chips. So we're using Ghirardelli for this particular recipe. The recipe calls for not using Nestle chips. So don't use Nestle according to this particular recipe. Use some other kind of chocolate other than Nestle's chocolate. So we're going to add 1 1/3 cup of our Ghirardelli chocolate chips in with our cubed butter. Now we're going to put our bowl into the microwave. And we want to melt it, so what we're going to do is we're going to microwave it in 30-second increments to see how melty it gets. We want it melted, but we don't want it melty. Our batter is now at a smooth consistency, and we're going to let it rest for just a few minutes. So after we've allowed our batter beginnings to cool a little bit, we're going to whisk in 1/2 cup of granulated sugar. Now we're going to whisk in 2 eggs, one at a time. We're going to add 1 teaspoon and 1/2 now of vanilla extract. And now without whisking, we're just going to mix the powders into our batter. That might take a while. I'm going to sit down and stir for a bit. Okay, so now that we've got our brownie batter nice and smoothed out, it's time to make the fixings for the cream cheese. So in yet another bowl, we're going to take 8 ounces of cream cheese. This package is exactly 8 ounces, bought from the store. It needs to be room temperature at least. It needs to be mixable. To the cream cheese, we're going to add 1/4 cup of granulated sugar. Now we're going to stir this until it's smooth and creamy. Now that we have our cream cheese and sugar mixed to a nice smooth and creamy consistency, to this we're going to add an egg and 1/4 of a teaspoon of vanilla. And now we're going to mix this all together. Now we're going to take a portion of our brownie batter and separate it out. And to the remainder, we're going to add the rest of our chips and just put them in there and fold them in with the batter. So at this point, we're going to put the bulk of our brownie batter into the prepared pan on the parchment paper. Now we're going to add our cream cheese over the top. So you remember the little bit of batter that we separated out and we didn't fold the remainder of the chips into? We've added a little bit of water to it to thin it out. And now we're simply going to pour it over the top of our cream cheese. And taking our knife, we're just going to swirl it, the cream cheese and the chocolate together. And that looks pretty. Now we simply place our pan into the 350-degree oven where it will cook for 30 to 35 minutes. And here they are, fresh out of the oven, folks. We're gonna let it cool off a little bit before we cut it. Add a little ice cream and see what Tammy thinks of her birthday brownies. Is it good?
The brownie is chocolatey and very moist. Oh, it's so good.
Tam, can I have a little bite? Oh, wow. Happy birthday, honey.
Thank you, honey.